Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone, here's Muhammad Imran. We will discuss today some more confusing words. And in confusing words, we will focus today confusing preposition. So this is our lecture number 3 in confusing words. Let's discuss what are confusing prepositions in English. First, we will talk about these two prepositions. One is above and one is over. So what is the difference between above and over? Now, these two prepositions are used when we talk about that something is higher than something else. You can see that the tree is higher than this person, and we can see that the clouds are also higher than this person. So it means that we use over and we use above when something is higher than something else, right? The first difference between above and over is that if one thing is much higher than another thing, or there is a lot of space between them, we usually use above. Here you can see that a person who's sitting here and the clouds are here. So between the person and the cloud, there is a lot of space, right? Or something is much higher than another thing. So here is a person and here's a cloud. So the cloud is at much higher position than the person. So that's why that we use here above. And or is used when something is less higher than another thing or another person. So this is the first difference. Now, the second difference between above and or is that that we use over when something is higher than another thing directly. You can see that here is a person and just upright the a person is a tree. And we use above when something is higher than something else, but that height is not directly. You can see it is directly higher and it is indirectly higher. Here we have explanation of above and over. If something is higher than something else, you can say that the first thing is above or over the second thing. And here we have example. He opened a cupboard above the sink. There was a mirror over the fireplace. So these two examples show that if one thing is higher than another thing, we can use above or we can use over. But what is the difference between above and over? We will see here now. If one thing is much higher than another thing, or there is a lot of space between them, we usually use above. So if the space is higher, right, or there is a lot of space between two things, so we prefer to use above, right? Here we have example. We heard a lot of noise in the apartment above ours. You can see that something that is there is a lot of space between one thing and another thing. You usually use over when one thing is at higher level than another thing and the first thing is moving, right? When the first thing is moving, that is like at higher position, so we usually use over. For example, a plane flew over the city. So then we use over when something is moving. Here we have some more illustration of over, above, under and below. The first example, the ball is under the box. You can see there is no space between the box and the ball. So then we use under when something is at lower position than something else and there is no space. The ball is below the box. So you can see there is a lot of space between the box and the ball. So we use that one thing when one thing is at lower position than something else and there is space. So then we use below. So below is used when there is space between one thing and another thing. And we use under when there is no space between one thing and another thing, that is at lower position. The same example here we have, that is above. Above you can see that there is space between the box and the ball. And over there is no space between this box and this another thing. You can see that is over and that is above. And here we have below, there is space between this box and the ball. And here we have under, there is no space between this box and this thing. So it is clear now that we use below when there is space between one thing and another thing. And we use under when there is no space between one thing and another thing. We use above when one thing is at higher position than another and there is space. And we use over when one thing is at higher position than another but there is no space. Here we have two more prepositions. One is alone and one is lonely. So we will discuss how alone is different from lonely. Let's discuss it. Alone is used as an adjective or adverb. This word means without other people or on your own. Example, I don't have any roommate, I live alone. She doesn't like shopping with my friends and she prefers to go shopping alone and take her time. I can learn English alone without a teacher or class. So these all are the example of alone. Here you can see the difference between alone and lonely. You can be alone without feeling lonely. So it means that when you're sad, that is lonely. And when no one is with you, then you are alone. So it doesn't mean that when you are alone, you will be lonely, right? Because lonely means sad and alone means without something else or without someone else. So you can be alone without be lonely. Here we will differentiate alone from lonely. You can be alone without feeling lonely. So lonely means when you are sad, and alone means when you are without someone or you are without something. So here you can see that alone, you can be happy even when you are alone. Some people are happy when they are alone. When lonely, it doesn't mean that you are without someone, right? Or you are without something. Lonely means you are sad because you might have missed something or you might have missed someone. That's why that you are lonely. So when you are lonely, you are sad. And when you are alone, so you are without someone or something. So a alone person can be also happy, but lonely person cannot be happy. This is the difference between alone and lonely. Lonely. Lonely is used as an adjective. This is the feeling we have when we are unhappy or sad because we aren't with people. So when you aren't with people or you are missing someone, then you are lonely. You are sad or you are unhappy. When my husband travels and I stay at home, I feel lonely. Why do I feel lonely? Because my husband travels and I stay at home, so that's why I am sad and I am unhappy. She lives alone, but she says she never feels lonely. So alone doesn't mean that you are sad or you are unhappy. That's why that she lives alone and she says she never feel lonely. Some people feel happy when they are alone, while some people they do not feel happy. But You can be happy even when you are alone, because alone doesn't mean that you are sad or you are unhappy. My grandma was very lonely after my grandpa died. Now see that my grandma was missing my grandpa. That's why she was feeling lonely. So she was sad and she was unhappy. Right? So this is the difference between alone and lonely. Here we have two more notion. One is another and one is other. Another plus singular non-specific countable noun. So we use another with the singular noun, and that is non-specific countable noun. We can count. Example, let's meet another day. So another day is non-specific countable noun because we can count day. We can say 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, right? So we can count day. And when we say that another day, so we are talking about a day that is non-specific. And you can see that I use here day, not days, so it is singular. According to the structure, another plus singular non-specific countable noun. So that is another plus singular non-countable noun. I would like another piece of cake. So again, you can see that another piece of cake. I'm talking about a piece of cake that is non-specific. Hint, if you understand English article a and the, then think of another as an plus other, right? N plus other. You can use another before a noun whenever you can use a and n before a noun. The rules are the same, another as an equal to an other. Here we will talk about other plus plural or uncountable non-specific noun. So other is used with plural or uncountable non-specific noun. For example, other people have problem too. So we are using people, that is plural noun, and we are using other. So other is used with plural noun, or we can use it with uncountable noun, but that will be non-specific. When I say other people have problems too, so I'm talking about people who are not specific, who are like non-specific. So this book has other information. You can see information that is uncountable noun. So we can use other with also uncountable noun that is non-specific. Some days I think I look kind of cute, but other days I think I look fantastic. So days, that is plural noun. As I told that we use other with plural non-specific noun. So some days, when I say some days, I'm talking about non-specific countable noun that is plural. Some days. So some days I think I look kind of cute, but other days I think I look fantastic. So days plural noun. Hen. If you think about article a in the again, then remember that we use other before a noun that would not need an article. Been to versus been in versus gone to. We use been to say that we went somewhere and came back and that we are not there anymore. For example, I have been to Paris before and I can tell you that it isn't an amazing city. I am back now. So we use been to talk about that you went somewhere and then you came back, you are not there now. My brother has been to Venus. I am sure he can give us more advice about where to eat and where to stay. So again, it means that my brother has been to Venus, mean that he is not in Venus now. He came back from Venus. Bantu. Bantu, a place does indicate that a person has gone to the place or has visited the place According to the Collins Coble English Dictionary, it is used when the person is no longer in that place. So if I say, I have been to London, it means that I am no longer in London now. I came back from London. On the other hand, been in can mean that a person has been in the place and has lived, or it can mean that he or she still live in that place. According to L.G. Alexander in Longman English Grammar, he has been in Buenos Aires for a year. He lives there. So when we say that he has been in Buenos or he has been in London, so we mean that he is still living in London. So that is the difference between been to and been in. Been to mean that a person has gone to the place and came back. And been in means a person has gone to a place and he may still live there. Gone to. Gone to a place indicates that a person has gone to a place and has not yet returned. Now, John's just gone to the shop. She'll be back in about 10 minutes. John has not yet returned from the shop. So, gone to indicate that a person is still there. John's just been to the shop. She brought some cake. Would you like one? John has returned from the shop. So you can see that is been to, that John's just been to the shop. Been to mean that she has gone to the shop and has returned from the shop. And John just gone to the shop, it means that John is still in the shop and has not yet returned. See the difference between gone to and been to. Gone to mean that a person has gone somewhere and is still there. And been to mean a person has gone somewhere and has returned. Now he is no more in that place now. During, in, and for. During means from the beginning to the end of a particular period of time. It rained during the night. So it means that when the night begins and when the night ends. So throughout this particular period of time, it rained. The whole night it rained. There was not even a whisper during the whole service. So when the service began and when the service ended, there was no whisper during this particular period of time. During can also be used to talk about things that happen continuously or several times between the beginning and end of a period of time. For example, I used to visit him during my stay in Boston. When I was in Boston, I used to visit him. So it means that during my stay in Boston, several times I visited him, right? So something happened continuously during a particular period of time. Now the baby woke up several times during the night. When the night began and when the night end, so during this particular period of time, something happened several times, and that was the baby woke up. Some more usages of during and for. During is used to say when something happens. For is used to say how long it lasts. It rained for 3 hours and it rained during the night. So we use during to talk about when something happens. I was sleeping during the service. So when something happens. And the service lasted for more than 3 hours. So we use for to talk about that how long something lasts. In the first example, it rained for 3 hours, talking about how long something lasts. It rained during the night when something happens. I was sleeping during the service when something happened. The service lasted for more than 3 hours, how long something lasts. And I don't remember the exact date, but it was during the winter when something happened. So when we talk about or when we ask when something happened, we use during. And when we talk about that how long something lasts, we use for. During and in. We use both during and in to say that something happens inside a particular period of time. I woke up during or in the night. So we can use during or we can use in when something happens inside a particular period of time. It rained during or in the week. You can use both during or in. We prefer during when we stress that we are talking about the whole of the period. In cannot be used like this. It means that we use during when we talk about that the whole period something continuously happens, and we do not use in for this. For example, if we say it rained during the week, so it means that throughout the week it rained. And when we say it rained in the week, so we are not referring to continuous week, that it rained for continuous week. Now, here was not even a whisper during the whole service, not in the whole service. We were on holiday during the whole of May. So when we say that we were on holiday during the whole of May, so we are talking continuous period of time or continuous particular period of time, right? That we were on holiday during the whole of May.